Did you know Genya is not the only person who eats demons? Or why Inosuke wears a boar head? These questions and many others will be answered today, as we are going to talk about 44 facts you probably didn't know about Demon Slayer. Nezuko used to wear her hair pinned up before she became a demon. After her transformation, she started wearing it loose. This is because she was no longer able to deal with her hair on her own, and Tanjiro didn't have the skills to do it for her. Like every other Demon Slayer, Inosuke has a Kasugai crow that relays mission specs and other information to him. But Inosuke's crow tries to stay hidden as much as possible. If you wonder why, well, because Inosuke has tried to eat the poor thing at least 18 times. When Rengoku first became a Hashira, he once faced a demon called the Flute Demon. In order to defend himself against the Flute Demon's blood demon art, he intentionally ruptured his own eardrums. It's not clear whether this has permanently harmed his hearing. Maybe that explains why he's so shouty. Tanjiro loves keeping in touch with others via the mail. He has several pen pals like Urokodaki, Senjuro, the courtesans from the entertainment district, Gyu, and Tengen. It seems that all his pen pals write back to him except for one, which I think you all know who he is without me saying his name. And to be honest, I'm surprised Kanao didn't make it to the list. Maybe she's in some other lists of Tanjiro. We never know. Gyomei Himejima is the strongest Hashira in Demon Slayer. You might have expected that he lost his eyesight while fighting a demon, but it was actually something a little more mundane. As a child, he had a high fever that caused him to go blind. In spite of this blindness, he still has a keen sense of sight. Another interesting fact about the stone Hashira is that he became a Hashira only 2 months after he joined the Demon Slayer Corps. According to Tengen Uzui, the sound Hashira, the only other known human who became a Hashira after 2 months, is Muichiro Tokido, the Mist Hashira. He became a Hashira when he was only 14. He may not have the strongest physical body in the world, but this guy is a beast. But even this is not the craziest fact about him. Did you know that Muichiro is the descendant of none other than the Upper Moon one? Yes, he is related to Kokushibo. We learn about their relationship during an event in Infinity Castle Arc when the Mist Hashira encounters the Upper Rank one. Kokushibo tells the Demon Slayer that he is a descendant of the child he left when he was a human. After hearing this, Muichiro goes into shock. Impressed by his descendant's abilities, the Upper Rank one wants to make him a demon to serve Muzan, but gets interrupted by Genya. The way Kanao got her name is pretty hilarious. After the Kocho sisters found Kanao, they did a naming selection process for her. Shinobu was in charge of picking her name, but something that might surprise you is despite Shinobu's intellect, she is kind of an airhead, because the names that she came up with were all various names of fishes and birds. Thank God, Aoi Kanzaki intervened and chose the name Kanao for her. Speaking of Kanao, she has some hobbies that are outlandishly cute. Her favorite thing to do is blow soap bubbles. She's into buying presents like accessories and desserts for everyone else in the Butterfly Mansion. She's also a budding chef who likes helping other people cook. And that's not all. Whenever she sees a cat, she just has to squish its little paws. In the Swordsmith Village arc of Demon Slayer, we saw a flashback of Mitsuri that revealed she was actually born with dark hair and more demure features when she was little. It wasn't until she aged a bit that her hair and eyes began to change to their pink and green color. According to a post-credit scene from Season 3, Mitsuri's unique hair and eye color came from the fact that she ate 170 Sakura rice cakes a day for 8 months. Another interesting fact about Mitsuri is that she was Rengoku's Tsuguko. Mitsuri learned flame breathing when she was training with Rengoku Kyojuro, yet she was unable to get a full grasp of this technique. She eventually decided to create her own technique and came up with the love breathing style, which she adapted from flame breathing. The Mugen Train movie is the highest-grossing Japanese film of all time. The worldwide gross is estimated to be more than $500 million. That's insane! The Lower Moon 5 Rui was a dangerous opponent that Tanjiro and Nezuko were barely able to defeat, but apparently he wasn't at full strength when they fought. Supposedly, he's more than powerful enough to take on a Hashira, but he weakened himself severely by sharing his power with his family. This seems to be a permanent loss, since when the other spider demons were brought down, he did not become any stronger. This next fact will put a smile on your face. Lady Tamayo's Japanese voice actress, Maya Sakamoto, is married to Obanai's Japanese voice actor, Kenichi Suzumura. The former water Hashira, Sakanji Urokodaki, is always seen wearing a Tengu mask. The reason for this isn't explained in the anime, but there is an explanation. He started wearing it because he has an exceptionally gentle face. This embarrassed him a bit, so he started wearing the mask to cover it up. Speaking of wearing masks, the reason why Inosuke wears a boar head is because when he was a child, he was raised by a mother boar. It is possible that he collected the creature's remains after her death and wore her head in an attempt to fit in with the animals he grew up with. Don't take on Nezuko in rock, paper, scissors unless you're ready to lose. She's an expert at the game and nearly always wins. Despite her known skill, she and Tanjiro often settle disagreements using rock, paper, scissors. Tanjiro either doesn't realize he's always going to lose, or he's letting her win on purpose. Though Akaza doesn't remember too much about his life before becoming a demon, he does recall enough of his past to know that he doesn't ever want to harm or consume women. This is because he used to be in love with a girl when he was a human. Because Muzan likes him so much, he lets him stick to his principles. This is not a privilege afforded to most demons working under him. And this isn't the only thing Akaza remembers from his past. Most of Akaza's techniques are named after fireworks and inspired by Koyuki, the girl he loved. He remembers the night he went out with Koyuki when they were both staring at the fireworks, and Koyuki confessed her love for him. His technique deployment ability shows the patterns of a snowflake, which is inspired by Koyuki's hairpin. And Koyuki isn't the only one who inspired Akaza's techniques. Akaza's technique deployment compass needle technique is the Soryu-style martial arts technique that Keizo, Koyuki's father, taught him. Tanjiro's mom is stronger than she looks. Just like her son, Kai Kamato has an exceptionally hard forehead. In fact, it's so hard that she once headbutted a boar without getting injured herself. Lady Tamayo keeps everything clean, dirty, and disorganized surroundings stress Tamayo out to the point where she can't concentrate on anything. I mean, she is the Levi Ackerman of Demon Slayer. This is probably a good trait for a doctor to have, since there's a lot of work she shouldn't be doing without making sure everything is sterilized first. The serpent Hashira, Obanai Iguro has the smallest appetite out of all the Hashira. He can go about 3 days without eating. Although he doesn't like to eat much, seeing Mitsuri happily eat her food made him work up his appetite and eat more than usual. For those of you who don't know it yet, Obanai's meeting with Mitsuri was love at first sight. He was so dumbfounded that even his pet snake Kaburamaru also started to panic, which for some reason led to the snake biting him. I mean, we can't blame him or his snake, right? And this led to Obanai gifting her the long green socks when he realizes how nervous she is about wearing her revealing uniform. Demons are already different from other people as they can regenerate limbs that are cut off. However, Muzan Kibutsuji's body is even more different. He has a total of 7 hearts and 5 brains. His extra neural and circulatory organs might account for his superhuman skills and abilities. You might have noticed that Shinobu is really talented when it comes to making medicines.
私は薬学に精通しているのですよ。
And no, this isn't because she studied medicine, it's because Shinobu and her older sister Kanai were from a wealthy family who worked in compounding medicine. But everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, when a demon attacked their home, killing their parents. After this tragic incident, the sisters swore to join the Demon Slayer Corps to stop innocent people from experiencing the same. Kyojuro Rengoku has a cute little fact, and no, I promise it's not the donut one. Poor Kyojuro always wanted a pet, but he has never been able to have one because of his father's hatred toward animals. You might think his father was mean, but he just wanted to prevent animals from eating his little donut. Okay, I promise I'll stop it. Have you ever wondered what Zenitsu, Inosuke, Tanjiro, and Tengen would be like as musicians? I hope you have not. Well, in a manga extra, the 4 of them form a band called Stylish Scruffy Democracy. Tanjiro is the vocalist despite being tone deaf. Inosuke plays the taiko drum, Tengen is on harmonica, and Zenitsu plays shamisen and writes their songs. Their debut single is called Exploding Skin and the Melancholy of Modern Smell. Apparently, it made everyone who heard it get dizzy and vomit. They have another song called Previous Life Sins, where Zenitsu bemoans the fact that he can't get a girlfriend. Maybe they should just stick to demon slaying. It's well known that Yushiro is obsessed with Tamayo, but did you know that he keeps a diary dedicated entirely to taking notes about her greatness? It's kind of weird, but kind of cute too. We all know Demon Slayer is known for some of the most visually impressive anime fights of all time. The incredibly smooth and satisfying movements of the combat in the anime are a sight to behold. It is all thanks to Ufotable, the studio behind its animation. But did you know it cost Ufotable $80,000 on average just to make one episode of Demon Slayer? That's a lot of money for a 20-minute episode. Although Tengen might not be the strongest Hashira, he does have a great physical strength. In an arm wrestling contest between the Hashira, Tengen was ranked second, with only Gyome surpassing him. No surprises there, right? One of the quotes that's heavily associated with Tanjiro is, "Whenever happiness is destroyed, there is always the scent of blood." The second fanbook explains that this isn't just about his mother and siblings' demise. Tanjiro is also the person who found his father as he was coughing up blood and about to die. He also found his grandmother as she was passing away. An extra panel in the manga shows that Zenitsu has an overbite. I think none of us noticed this because it isn't obvious from how he's drawn most of the time. Most likely it's not quite as severe as the exaggerated overbite depicted in the panel. Genya Shinazugawa eats demon flesh in order to enhance his own power and use blood art techniques. This is potentially hazardous to his health, so he has to get repeated checkups at the Butterfly Mansion to keep himself in good shape. According to Kokushibo, he is not the only human who eats demons. It's not clear how common this practice is, but it's not unique to Genya. While Inosuke and Tengen didn't have the strongest relationship in the Entertainment District arc, they do have one thing in common actually. They are the only known demon slayers who use 2 Nichiren blades instead of 1. Before she was turned into a demon, Daki's name was Ume. While this might sound like a cute name, it's actually pretty devastating. She was named for the disease that took her mother's life. This is implied to be syphilis, because the Japanese word for syphilis is baidoku, and bai and ume are alternate readings of the same kanji. Her name serves as a reminder of her dark past. This next fact is for the toxic fans of Demon Slayer. And by toxic fans, I mean Muzan fangirls. No matter how much you like him, do not marry that guy. Because since Muzan was transformed into a demon during the Heian period, he has married 5 different women. However, his new demonic nature made him so cruel that all 5 women took their own lives as a result of his mistreatment. I bet we have less Muzan fangirls now after hearing this. Some people in the Demon Slayer Corps do not appreciate Inosuke. The swordsmith in charge of creating the swords belonging to Inosuke, Kozo Kanamori, is not really a fan of him. Because every time he gets a new sword, he immediately chips it to create a serrated edge. The tailors who make uniforms don't like him either, because he's constantly tearing up his clothes. I guess we all should be thankful that we are not his wife. Yes, Inosuke and Aoi do end up with each other actually, thanks to Nezuko being the best wingman of all time. Kagaya Ubuyashiki is the 97th leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, and the current head of the Ubuyashiki family. He became the head of his family when he was only 4 years old. The members of Ubuyashiki family suffer from a curse, which makes them have a horrible-looking skin condition and a short lifespan. And the reason behind this curse is none other than Muzan Kibutsuji, who has a blood relation with the Ubuyashiki clan, making Kagaya his descendant. You heard that right. Muzan and Kagaya are actually from the same family. Before she was transformed into a demon, Nezuko's little brother Takio asked what her ideal man was like. She said, "My ideal man is like a rook. A rook is a shogi piece that can move an unlimited number of squares either horizontally or vertically." You might think her answer is weird, but Shigeru, another younger sibling of Tanjiro and Nezuko, asked Tanjiro what sort of wife he wants to marry. And I'm sure he instantly regretted asking this after hearing his older brother's answer. You see, Tanjiro is a nice guy, so he wouldn't want to tell his younger siblings who his dream girl is. He tried to use flowers and animals as a metaphor. I'm sure you've already guessed it wasn't a good idea. And trust me, you are not ready to hear what he came up with. He said a Shiba Inu that looks like a lily of the valley. I don't know why on earth he thought saying he wants to marry a dog was a better idea. The next and last little fact on our list is the most hilarious one. During the Hashira training session, Tanjiro was given the nickname Mommy. This is maybe because he acts like one. This explains why Inosuke called him Monjiro. It all makes sense now.